Pacific Rim is officially coming back, but not in the way fans expected. Instead of a long-awaited Pacific Rim 3, Legendary Pictures is shifting gears and heading to the small screen with a live-action prequel series. And yes, it's happening at Amazon. According to Deadline, the new series is being developed for Prime Video, with Amazon MGM Studios backing it, and Legendary serving as the lead studio. The man leading the charge? Eric Heisserer, the Oscar-nominated writer behind Arrival and the Netflix hits Bird Box and Shadow and Bone. Heisserer will be writing and executive producing the series under his Chronology banner. And this isn't just another spin-off, it's a full-blown prequel that dives into the early days of humanity's war against the Kaiju. We're talking about the first moments when the world realized something monstrous was slipping through an interdimensional rift in the Pacific. So if you've ever wondered how the whole Jaeger program got off the ground, this series is aiming to answer that. Now, given the prequel setting, Charlie Hunnam's return as Raleigh Beckett seems like a long shot, but not totally off the table. Fans remember him as one of the OG Jaeger pilots in the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps, mentally syncing with co-pilots to control those massive robot warriors. Hunnam has said in recent interviews that he'd be up for returning only if Guillermo del Toro himself asked him to do it. Their creative bond is strong, especially since del Toro's original vision gave the franchise its signature Kaiju versus mech spectacle. But as of now, del Toro isn't confirmed to be involved in the series, so Hunnam's possible return depends entirely on where the showrunners decide to take the story. A flashback or cameo isn't out of the question, but nothing's been announced yet. For those who've somehow missed it, Pacific Rim launched back in 2013 with Guillermo del Toro's explosive sci-fi epic. The film introduced a world under siege by Kaiju, massive otherworldly beasts rising from the ocean's depths. Humanity's response: build Jaegers, gigantic mech suits piloted by two humans linked through a neural bridge. The blend of cutting-edge CGI and old-school monster movie vibes instantly won over fans, spawning a sequel and a Netflix anime spin-off. But after the mixed reception of the 2018 sequel, the franchise went quiet. Now, Legendary's ready to bring it roaring back to life, and they've put their faith in Heisserer, who's already got a first-look deal with the studio to develop new projects. The Pacific Rim prequel is one of the first out of the gate, and depending on how it lands, it might just kickstart a whole new shared universe, similar to what Legendary has done with the Monsterverse. It's still early days, but according to Variety, the show is officially moving forward, with Heisserer's Chronology team shaping the story as we speak. So, what's this prequel actually about? While official plot details are still being kept under wraps, we do know it takes place before the events of the original 2013 film. And interestingly, this isn't the first time the franchise has explored those early years. Back in 2013, a comic series called Tales from Year Zero dropped alongside the first movie. Written by Travis Beacham, the original screenwriter of Pacific Rim, and overseen by Guillermo del Toro himself, the comic painted a gritty, behind-the-scenes look at what happened right after the first Kaiju made landfall. That story followed multiple perspectives from the early days of the war and gave fans a deeper look at how the world scrambled to respond. The Jaeger program didn't just appear overnight. Tales from Year Zero showed how the military's first attempts to fight the Kaiju with conventional weapons failed miserably. That led to a global crisis and a mad dash to build something new, the Jaegers. A key figure in that origin story was Dr. Jasper Schoenfeld, the brilliant mind behind the neural-linked war machines. His journey through the political and scientific chaos of those early days gave the whole thing a grounded, realistic edge. Another major character in the comic was a younger Stacker Pentecost, who was right there on the front lines when the Kaiju first arrived. It also featured a young Mako Mori, surviving a devastating Kaiju attack that would eventually shape her into the pilot we met in the first film. These personal, ground-level stories added real weight to the world, and if the new series leans into that kind of storytelling, we could be in for something really special. There's a chance the show might take inspiration from Tales from Year Zero, maybe even adopt an anthology-style format where each episode focuses on different characters and events from those early war years. That would be a smart move. It'd allow the series to explore the full scale of the Kaiju crisis while digging into the lives of the people who shaped humanity's response. It's still unclear whether Legendary will stick close to the comic's storyline or branch off in a new direction, but one thing's for sure, fans are hoping this prequel brings back the gritty, grounded tone that made Pacific Rim feel so unique in the first place. After all, a lot of people felt Uprising ditched the detailed world building and high-stakes drama in favor of flashy visuals and toy-like robots. If the new series wants to win back that passionate fanbase, it needs to bring back the desperation, the awe, and the sense that every kaiju battle could be humanity's last. And what about Pacific Rim 3? Just because a prequel series is on the way doesn't mean the main saga is dead. In fact, according to insiders, Legendary still has big plans for the core story. And yes, a third movie is reportedly in the works. The studio is currently on the hunt for a director and screenwriter, but an early draft of the script has already been approved, and it might even have Guillermo del Toro's stamp of approval. Way back when the original film came out, Del Toro had ambitious plans for at least 4 main entries, plus spin-offs and prequels. After Uprising, he supposedly pitched an even bigger vision to Warner Brothers, an entire cinematic universe built around Jaegers, Kaiju, and the mysterious Breach. The second movie didn't blow critics away, but it did well enough at the box office to keep the franchise alive. Now, after years of silence, the momentum for Pacific Rim 3 is finally building again. And there's so much ground left to cover. One of the coolest things about the first film is that it just throws you into the middle of the Kaiju war. No long setup, no slow build. That means the franchise is sitting on a goldmine of untold stories. The early battles, the chaos of the first Kaiju attacks, the invention of the Jaegers, and the global scramble to survive. The prequel series could explore any of that. Maybe even the origins of the Breach itself, or humanity's first clumsy attempts at building giant war machines. It's the perfect setup to expand the lore while laying the groundwork for a bigger return. And yeah, we can't forget about fan favorite characters like Pentecost. Idris Elba made that role iconic, and even though his character sacrificed himself in the first film, there's always the possibility of seeing a younger version show up in the prequel. There's just so much potential here. Characters, world building, big emotional arcs, all the stuff that fans felt was missing from Uprising. One of the biggest question marks right now is whether Del Toro will return in any capacity. He didn't have much involvement with Uprising, which was directed by Stephen DeKnight, and fans definitely noticed the shift in tone. The second movie leaned hard into glossy visuals and toy-like aesthetics, drifting away from the gritty, war-torn feel of the original. That lived-in, high-stakes vibe is what made Pacific Rim resonate so strongly with its fan base. Del Toro's original trilogy plan was all about digging deeper into the Kaiju mythology and exploring the war between worlds. When Uprising underdelivered, all those ideas were shelved, but now the prequel series might be the perfect chance to revisit that original vision. Even if Del Toro isn't directing, it wouldn't be shocking to see him return as a producer or offer some creative guidance behind the scenes. After all, this entire universe came from his imagination, and if the new team wants to win back the fans, tapping into his style is the way to do it. The franchise doesn't need more neon Jaegers doing superhero poses. It needs to feel like a desperate last stand against forces humanity barely understands. The first movie nailed that balance. The Jaegers weren't just shiny gadgets. They were massive, flawed machines powered by raw determination and sacrifice. If the prequel can recapture that energy, it could set the stage for the franchise to come roaring back in a big way. And that brings us to the bigger picture. If the show does well, it could do more than just revive interest. It might be the exact spark Legendary needs to finally greenlight Pacific Rim 3. Ever since Uprising ended on a cliffhanger, fans have been waiting for closure. And while the sequel didn't exactly leave audiences begging for more, the demand never totally went away. A strong prequel series could rebuild that trust, remind people why they loved this world to begin with, and open the door to one more big screen return. Because let's be honest, Pacific Rim was made for theaters. The giant mech battles, the monster carnage, the insane scale of it all, it belongs on the biggest screen possible. But in today's box office climate, studios are more careful than ever with big budget gambles. That's where streaming comes in. The prequel series gives the studio a lower risk way to test the waters. If it lands, if it clicks with audiences, then Pacific Rim 3 might not be a dream after all. It could finally be next on deck.